we're doing less face-to-face,
Yes.
less voice-to-voice, a lot of texting, a lot of emails. And true intimacy is the more you approach actually having contact with somebody, looking into someone's eyes, being able to talk about how you feel. If most of your communications are in short bursts, you can have the illusion of intimacy without really having it. And then people forget how to talk to each other.
And I think you're bringing up something, the underbelly of which is that maybe men and women aren't trusting each other enough to have those, into that, you know, to be open enough to be intimate. I know that a lot of the young women that I speak with are saying things that men used to say. I want more space. I don't want to be sexually exclusive. I don't want to be the one maintaining relationship. So as roles have changed, I think men are baffled by what women are asking of them, just as women are baffled by men who want them to make a lot of money and still be nurturing and loving. And, you know, we both want the other gender to be a little of the old and a little of the new, and it's very tricky and complicated.
Definitely. I think a lot of men feel, I'd use the word almost befuddled.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they don't really know how to, you know, how do I
putting on my glasses.
How do I act in certain situations?
Yes.
They don't want to be thought of as a chauvinist, you know, as a male chauvinist.
Or too sensitive either.
They know that a woman wants them to be masculine, but not, you know, not overly macho and controlling and insensitive. And women want them to be sensitive at the same time, but not too sensitive to the point where, you know, you're needy or you lose your masculinity. And so it's a tough act.
And women's the same. Women want, you know, women feel that men are asking them to be high achieving and, you know, to bring home the bacon, but also to be that old-fashioned, loving, caring, at-home person. So it's gotten really tough. Okay, my next question from a reader and a viewer. Last year I was out of town on Valentine's Day and my lover neither called me nor sent a card. I was hurt. I wanted him to acknowledge our relationship, and I told him so. This year I'm going to be out of town again, and I'm nervous. What should I do?
Well, this sounds like a situation where nothing ventured, nothing gained. It sounds like she needs to take a little bit of a risk if she's going to get what she wants.
And go for it.
Right. And the risk, it sounds like she's shying away from is, well, you know, if I've already told my boyfriend, my lover, that I wasn't happy about what happened last year. Hopefully he heard me.
Right.
Now do I, you know, reiterate? In which case, if he does it, she's not really going to know, was this something he wanted to do? Did he hear her last year? Or, you know, because he was prodded. And furthermore, if she asks again and he doesn't do it,
then we have to say, why is he being punishing? Why is he not giving you what you specifically asked for? And do you want to be with that person?
Right.
Don't you think? If it happens.
But do you want to deal with these issues?
And will he deal with them? I mean, I think in order to be straight with him, she has to say, I hope you'll remember. Or, so do you think she should remind him and just say, I'm going to be away, I really hope you'll call? Or should she say something like, I'm going to be away and I know last year I got upset, so I'm going to call you?
Okay, yes, she could. I think she should do something, as opposed to saying nothing. Either, you know, reminding him or saying, you know, I'm going to call you.
I like your orientation because you're not one. I can tell from your answers, you want the connection. You're always urging people to connect instead of saying, you know, my impulse here is, okay, if he's going to be that way, then go out with somebody else, you know. But I know that that's not.
Yeah, that's.
No, that's an easy.
Well,
it's an easy.
As
it's an easy answer.
H.L. Mencken once said, for every complicated problem, there's a simple and erroneous solution.
And a complicated person. Yeah, yeah.
So yes, it would be very simple just to say, okay, you know, forget him, but What
But
happens
she
if,
doesn't want
And
to,
what happens
yeah.
if you hit the same situation with somebody else?
No, exactly, and you're right. Okay.
So, and you're absolutely right that my orientation is towards connection and trying to figure out win-win situations.
Right.
It's not that one person gets what they want at the expense
No,
of
I hear
somebody
that. I
else.
think
It's how
that's
do
terrific.
both people
Right.
get at least a good portion of what they want, if not everything.
And I like that. I'm a 30-year-old man dating a few women, all casually. All my friends text and sext constantly and will no doubt do the same on Valentine's Day. Is it too impersonal to send email cards to these women or text a happy Valentine's Day greeting or sext?
Well, if I wanted to be glib, I would say, why don't you just do an email blast? And send
well,
it out
that's what
to,
I know.
Send it out to everybody.
I mean, I know, that's what it sounds like.
Once again, depending on the situation, if he wants things to be casual, okay, send an email card. But if he has any real feelings for any of these women, I would
Right.
think you send a card. You send something tangible. You don't just do something that takes 30 seconds and very little thought.
And not only that, but at this point, don't we know the dangers of the net? Don't we know that everybody knows everything that you send out? And so,
Good point.
Unless you're just saying, "Hey, gals, great knowing you," everybody's going to know everything. I think at this point, we've got to take control of
That's
our
right.
intimacy
Once
issues.
you press send,
Once you press send, it's out there for good, as we know. Okay, I'm in an on-again, off-again relationship. We've been going out for a while, but one or the other of us always backs off. What kind of card do I choose? If it's funny but not romantic, I'm afraid of offending her. If it's romantic and she's feeling way ambivalent, will that evoke a negative response?
that's a very good question. And you wouldn't think that something as harmless as a little greeting card,
Oh, right.
could be loaded with so much stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're in a great relationship and things are great and it's cooking and it's working, buying a card is just which one do I like the best and how do I express my love? Okay, when you in a relationship that's problematic, that's exactly right. I would say try to be authentic. You probably have to work a little harder to plow through all those cards to find something which you
That goes deeper than
Yeah,
whatever's going on with you at that moment.
so that when the other person gets the card, they're like, okay, this is appropriate. It's not too mushy, but it's not,
Right.
it's not making totally ridiculous fun of things. And then the most important thing is going to be what you write on the card. I mean, you
That's
could,
absolutely right.
you could get a romantic card
That's
and
absolutely
say,
right.
you know what, I know things aren't that great right now, but this is how I would like it to
Yeah,
be.
that's great.
If you get a funny card, you could say, things aren't that great, but I love you anyway. So
How about making your own card? I think of my mother saying,
Crafts.
"Give me nothing, just make me a card," and I did. I mean, that's it. But if a card, Hallmark can't say what we really want to say, so it might be really nice if people are having a difficult time just writing something out.
right, but you know what the toughest thing about that is?
What?
The toughest thing about that is
Getting it right.
you have to
Sorry.
come from your heart. You have to take the risk of being vulnerable, because any time you openly express your feelings,
Right.
you're being vulnerable. So
Right.
you have to be willing to dig a little deeper.
Right.
If you get a blank card, or make a card, or send a handwritten note, or whatever.
Right.
And that's something that a
Right.
lot of people are uncomfortable with, especially in the very quick
I hate
digital age.
I hate the sarcastic cards. I just don't think they hit the mark ever, unless it's with a buddy, and that's your relationship. But I think the ones that are just sort of mean-spirited, it's like the birthday cards that are just all about aging. Who's going to like that? They're just, it's tough. All right. I want to let a man I'm dating know that while we're both dating other people, he's the one I secretly love. And I figure what better time to let him know that than on Valentine's Day. What do you think?
That's very interesting. I take it to mean that this person, I presume a woman, wants to indicate to the man that she would like things to progress a little more with this person. Maybe even stop seeing other people because you're really the one I love. Once again, it's a risk, okay? Because anytime you go first, you know, if you're
Right.
stating your feelings, stating your intentions first, you're taking a bit of a risk.
And I think that this goes back to the history of courtship in a way, but I find that as much as men want women to take the risk and to go for it and to be out there and say what they feel, I don't find a lot of men who like it when the women come on to them first. I still feel, and I may be very wrong about this, but the women who say that they really made the first move, they don't do so well with these guys. The guys seem to like at least to make their feelings clear first. Do you think that's true?
I think it is to a great extent, but I think, once again, what's happened, and don't get me wrong, I'm a strong supporter and adherent of women's lib in general, but like anything else, you know, as things get worked out, you're going to have unintended consequences. So one of the unintended consequences is that girls grow up and, well, why can't I take the lead? Why can't I be assertive? If a boy can do that, what's wrong with a girl doing that?
Right.
And to a certain extent, okay, but it does upset the apple cart a little. There's a certain thing called the male ego. And the male ego, despite what women may think, is actually pretty fragile. And if it's usurped, a man
Yeah, no, I think there's a
doesn't really
history
know
here.
what to do. He feels something's being taken away from him.
Michael, we have actually run out of time, and I'm so happy that you were here, and thank you for coming in. I think we'll resume this another time.
Anytime, Dalma. It was
And
delightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, and please email me if you want any kind of information about the show or what's coming up or anything you'd like to have on the show. Meanwhile, may you all be very kind to one another and have a warm and romantic Valentine's Day. And here's an idea. If you want to get your lover a book, consider this new love story. It's called A Godsend, a love story for grown-ups. It's out on Valentine's Day, and it happens to have been written by my husband and me, and I think it's pretty good. It's an ebook. It's on all ebook platforms. Till next time, good night.